Hi, my name is Sharisa Pryor, and I'm here today to talk about our future with dinosaurs. Now, most of us know the movie Jurassic Park, a 1993 hit telling the story of vicious dinosaurs being brought back to life to roam and terrorize the Earth from tiny DNA particles obtained from perfectly preserved prehistoric blood-sucking insects. But the movie's not all fictional. It was actually inspired by real-life experiments. Scientists plan to recreate a modern living-day dinosaur within the next 50 years by extracting dinosaur DNA from preserved insects and comparing the genetic data to that of modern-day animals. Now, the scientist behind all this is Dr. George Poinar. Just like in the movie, he uses mosquitoes. Now, this would have been quite coincidental, as the mosquito would have to have fed off of the dinosaur immediately before landing itself in tree sap. As tree sap dries, it hardens and fossilizes, and anything it covered would be perfectly preserved. Now, back in the lab, Dr. Poinar would carefully penetrate the pieces of amber, fossilized tree sap, down to the mosquito and extract the dinosaur DNA. The DNA is much too small to get too much information on, so it has to go through a process called polymerase chain reaction. Now, also called PCR. What it does is it uses 3 varying levels of heat, takes a double-stranded helix, or the DNA information, and separates it into 2 separate strands. Now, as the heat varies, it begins to heal itself and exactly duplicate the original helix. As the process is continued over and over again, the information expands bigger and bigger, and it can then be studied for specific patterns. Now, DNA is pretty much an instruction manual to how to build whatever creature it came from. Now, the next step in this experiment is to use this genetic data and edit it into the instruction manual or the DNA codes of modern-day animals. Now, scientists know or believe that birds were evolved from dinosaurs, and one example of proof is in the skeletal imprint of the fuzzy raptor. Now, it shows characteristics of both dinosaur and bird in the fact that it has teeth, claws, and an elongated tail of a dinosaur, but it also has feathers, one thing dinosaurs did not. Now, scientists have found more proof that chickens were the closest descendants to dinosaurs. Knowing that, they can take the embryo of a modern-day chicken and start to program the dinosaur information into the chicken embryo. This process is called genetic rearrangement. So what this does basically is takes the instructions of building a dinosaur and programs it into the embryo of the chicken, the DNA of the chicken. So the chicken will produce teeth, it will produce claws, it will grow an elongated tail, but it will lack feathers. It's basically a mutation of the chicken embryo. Eventually, the chicken will hatch, and that looks so much like a chicken. And there's our modern-day dinosaur. Now, some of the technology is not quite up to date for this experiment, so that's why scientists project it to be 50 years or so. But by the year 2060, we will be reading our newspapers with the birth announcement of a new modern-day dinosaur and experiencing the opening of a real-life Jurassic Park. Any questions?
How did birds evolve from dinosaurs?
Well, over a time period of thousands of years, DNA would begin to vary little by little, and as more time elapses, the little changes would become bigger and bigger, eventually producing a new species. Any more questions?
Where else can scientists find dinosaur DNA?
They can also find it in unfossilized dinosaur bones.
Well, how do they not fossilize?
They would have to be in a certain environment where they're completely protected from any type of weathering, like in coal mines. Any other questions?
No.
All right, well, again, my name is Sharisa Pryor, and thanks for listening.